Hello, YouTube. Thank you for tuning in my channel. This is Azrael, and we are going to be talking about some exercises on how to see spirits. You know, there's a reason why children see spirits a lot of times and more potent. It's because they have more of a vivid imagination. Now, I'm not saying that obviously they're hallucinating. Okay, your brain is wired in a certain way to where it trusts the five senses. That's basically how we're biologically geared. Okay. But children, when they use their imagination, they submerge themselves in their imagination, and their brain hasn't learned that the five senses is all there is, supposedly. Okay, so now again, when a child uses their imagination, it's slightly different than somebody who's using their imagination to write a book or to to direct a movie. You can have the best imagination, but you got to use it in a certain way. You've got to tell your brain that it's okay to see something that's not technically supposed to be there. And we do this by visualizations. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Now, don't forget the black sun visualization that I was in the last video. Now, in this video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to basically try to create a non-conscious tulpa, an object. You want to use your imagination like a child does, where they eat pretend food and open up pretend doors. You want to visualize an object. Well, from I like fruit, an apple. Let's say an apple. It could be a box. It could be a clock. It could be who knows. It could be anything. Okay, but try to see it in your hand. Try to feel it, whatever it is. And for the sake of this argument, it's going to be an apple for me. So feel this apple. Try to feel the weight, even though it's not in your hand, and see it. Convince yourself it's there. Tend to pick up the apple or object. Rotate it in your hand, visualizing, pretending just like a child. What this is going to do is, again, it's going to try to tell your brain that it's okay to see something that your five senses say to you that it's not supposed to be there. So when a spirit, because their energies are so subtle sometimes, uh, it'll be easier for you to pick up on it. Now, I want you to take this apple or object that you've decided, and you're going to place it on the counter, bookshelf, base of your bed. And every time you walk by it and you look at it, convince yourself it's still there. And play with it every day. You know, try to pick it up, feel it. If you chose an object that makes sounds, like a clock, try to hear the ticking. And then you're going to need a blank wall to go to the next step. You're going to try to look on that blank wall and try to see the outline. You know, pretend you set your item there, and you're going to look at the wall, and you're going to try to see the outline of that wall, of what you created. Okay, and just convince yourself to see it, and you'll start to see against a blank wall. Usually, white will be good, but any blank wall, and you'll and try to see the outline. Now, the next exercise is you're going to have the lights turned out, and now we're going to up it to a humanoid figure. Look into the darkness. All the lights turned off. Let your eyes have enough time to adjust to where you could actually see a little bit, at least. But as dark as possible, start to see the outline of an individual. Any, you know, you could at this point you could choose what you want to see. Say you want to do the outline of a girl, outline of a child, outline of a man in your mind's eye. But again, just like with the apple and so forth, try to see that outline. And then let your imagination, without you trying to guide it, let your imagination fill in that outline. Is it wearing pants? Is it wearing nothing but a smile? What's the skin tone? Let your imagination just fill in the blank without you trying to, after you visualize the outline in front of you. Okay? And this, again, is going to do the same thing as the other exercise. It's going to open up your more, it's teaching your brain to open up your perceptions. Now, this one, uh, you can use the Catholic saint if you're Christian and you don't, or even practice hoodoo, whatever. The Catholic saint Lucy. And these traditions, she is used for divination and so forth. Divination, which is going to be in the next video. But I want to give you the exercise here. Um, so you can turn her name, Lucy, into a sigil. I have a video on how to make sigils, or you can just look at her picture and draw something that a simple symbol. Okay, uh, that will remind you of Saint Lucy, because that will be a sigil. It's called kind of like a channeled sigil. Um, you can use the sigil of which we are going to use, the symbol of Hecate. Hecate. We're going to use her symbol, and we are going to do a small petition / invocation. Because this goddess rules over prophecy and divination also, as well as necromancy. This is what her sigil, one of her sigils, look like, and I'm going to pause the video here real quick, and I'm going to show it on the screen so you can see it. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to look at that sigil. You're going to place it, and you're going to gaze at it, and you're going to keep your mind blank at the moment. Just keep your mind blank. Just look at that sigil. Relax your eyes till it starts to blur. All right, just keep on looking at it, but let your eyes relax. And then ask, Hecate. Say your name. Say, Hecate, I, Jerry Lee, or I, John Smith, or I, continue with your name. Ask you to help me in my abilities as I am learning. May you teach me. May you guide me. And then put the sigil in a small, burn-proof glass. I mean, not glass, but uh, pan or something that won't break. Okay, and make sure there's nothing that can catch on fire, because you're going to place this sigil in the container, a little pot, and you're going to pour rubbing alcohol or uh, any kind of liquor that's like Everclear would be great, but rubbing alcohol could do too. And you're going to pour that over the sigil, and then you're going to light it on fire as you're gazing. But before you light it on fire, you're going to gaze at that sigil underneath that alcohol. And you're going to do the same thing. You're going to repeat your little incantation. You're going to ask that specific. And again, you could use any other person that you could do some research. You could find spirits that help you with divination. You could use a spirit from the Goetta or Seal of Solomon's, because they have spirits that help you with that. But trying to stay away from demonic evocation. So, but in any case, you set it on fire and just gaze at the fire as it's burning. And don't try to force any image in your head, but just let the images pop into your head. Just see what you can see. Just let your imagination bring this to you. Now, see, here's the thing. Um, before you see something outside, it's going to start here. Okay. So a lot of people, when they start divination, specifically with scrying mirrors, um, or crystal balls or whatever they're doing, they get discouraged because they don't see nothing in it. They might, their imagination things might pop in, but see, that's how it starts. That's the first stage. You have to learn to crawl before you can learn to walk. You got to learn to walk before you can learn to run safely. And these are legitimate visions, even though you're seeing it in your mind's eye before you see it outside. This is how it starts. So just gaze at the fire. Just see what you can see. Write down after you write it down, just whatever your brain shows. Thank the specific saint or god, goddess that you used. Again, we're using a kate for this. This is a form of fire divination, and we're going to talk about those divination in the next video. Okay, but yeah, start with those. Do that every now and then. Do the black sun exercise. Do the object exercises. These are important because if you're going to ever see a spirit when you summon it outside of yourself into a physical form, you're going to have to develop your astral senses. And these are these exercises that you're going to need to do. All right. Thank you. Like and subscribe.